Well, 9/11 played a critical role in the lives of so many Americans, certainly in the life of Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard of Hawaii. She joined the military immediately following the attacks and subsequently served a tour in Iraq. Now she's running for president. We'll talk about that in a minute. But first, Congresswoman Gabbard joins us tonight to talk about 9/11. Congresswoman, thanks a lot for coming on.
Thanks, Tucker.
So looking back, you've had time to think about this both in this country and abroad. What are the lessons for the rest of us from 9/11, would you say, 18 years later?
Yeah, it's looking back on that day, remembering where we were, and as we observed Al-Qaeda attacking us and seeing the thousands of our fellow Americans who were killed on that day, and seeing the brave acts that these heroes, our first responders, put forward as they ran into those crumbling buildings as so many people were trying to get out, to see how many people they could save. Like so many Americans, it was this event that made me decide in my own life that I wanted to dedicate my life to keeping the American people safe, to finding and defeating those who attacked us on that day, and to protecting our freedoms. This is something that continues to inspire me today. But also, we've got to recognize how much our leaders have failed us, where instead of focusing one-pointedly on defeating Al-Qaeda and its affiliates and offshoots, instead they went and started waging a series of regime change wars in places like Iraq and Libya, and the ongoing regime change war in Syria. Now, this has cost our country trillions of taxpayer dollars. We have lost thousands of American lives in these wars, my brothers and sisters in uniform. What to speak of the countless lives lost in these other countries in the Middle East. And where do we find ourselves today? Al-Qaeda is stronger now than they were on 9/11. This is the result that we have.
So I have to say, I'm completely convinced that if you would leave the line about Syria out, if you would pretend that what we're doing in Syria and have done in Syria is wise and smart, that you would be on the stage with your fellow Democrats at the debate. Bringing up that point about Syria has earned you the enmity of a lot of people in Washington, a lot. The entire foreign policy establishment. I think it's a badge of honor.
You know what's so interesting, though, Tucker, is if you look back around the vote for the Iraq War, there were some folks, a very few folks, who voted against that Iraq War, and they were smeared, they were accused of hating America, they were called unpatriotic, and all of a sudden now we are where we are today, and it's become vogue for politicians to say how terrible that Iraq War was, yet they lack the courage to stand up and speak the truth today against the ongoing regime change war in Syria. That's not leadership.
No, it's certainly not. So how do you feel about being excluded from this next DNC debate?
Oh, the DNC is trying to basically send a message to the American people that they are the all-powerful gatekeepers, and that they are the ones who have the power to decide who should be considered to be our Democratic nominee or not. But the reality is that voters in this country have that power. So that's where I'm focused. I'm focused on reaching out to and connecting with voters. They're the ones I'm committed to serving.
Yeah. You'd think that a party that says it believes in diversity would like to have someone with maybe a different point of view on the issue, and you have a different point of view on some of those issues. And so
I think that's part of the problem with these debates is, with these 30-second answers, 60-second answers, you're not really giving voters the chance to hear, where do we stand on these issues? What motivates us? Why are we doing what we're doing? What experience and credibility do we bring to this job of president and this huge responsibility of serving as commander-in-chief? And so really all it becomes is an opportunity for the hosting media network to get high ratings or make some money off of it, and it just the whole thing's a charade, and it doesn't serve voters. That's really the biggest problem here.
I've noticed. Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard, thank you for that. Good to see you.
Thank you, Tucker.